Ooh. Let's see. Yep, it's working. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to my other episode here. This little garage. What I have is a 2001 Chevrolet Suburban. And guess what's wrong? Like most of these things, it is the awesome ignition lock cylinder right there. And intermittently, it doesn't, I mean, it doesn't do it all the time, but starts up good. But if I put pressure on it, you can't really see that, but there it is. It's working good. Only one problem. Sometimes when you go to start this, the cylinder doesn't release back and the starter keeps engaging. There we are. See, it just did it. And then it locks to where it's hard for it to shut off, but I'm pretty sure I got a good view of how it stayed engaged. Well, that's what happens. It stays engaged on this one. I don't know if there's any other ones out there that do that. They usually, you know, they lock from the start. You can't, you gotta jiggle them around, move them back and forth, and put a lot of pressure on it, finally get it to turn on you. And you know, the ignition finally turns. You know, either you push up on it like that and it turns, or you push down on it and it gets turned. But in this one, it did do that. That was the problem, but I took it apart. I greased it, and I watched videos on YouTube like everybody else, and I thought what the problem was in here in the ring where these little spring-loaded detent, well, it's a, I don't know what they are, detent prongs that stick out of it, and they fit into the grooves of this. You know, they line up to the grooves. Oops, you know, the lock cylinder there. A lot of people were saying that it's that right there, those the detent little I don't know what the hell they call those little bump things. Little rod, detent rods. You know, they wear inside there, and then it won't turn, it'll lock, but that's not it. I've taken this apart and I've cleaned those, I've ground them down, filed the edges, it's nice and smooth. Still the same thing. What I found out, what it was, is this right here. Let me set this down, see it better. It's this thing right here. It's the magnet that this goes to. It's for, you know, the ignition. I mean, it's for the ignition. When you start it, it has a sensor inside the casting, and then it senses, you know, a voltage. And mine, it had loosened up in here, and as you turned it, just like most of these, they bind. You know, it gets loose here, and then it hits in the cylinder and it binds. It's not the detent prongs, but that's what that is. I mean, it's the magnet portion of that sticks out inside that. So anyway, I'm going to change it, see what happens. Now, taking it apart, just like everybody, you know, that does these on YouTube. Here you have the hazard blinker. Oh, no, wait. Pull the ignition out of it. The tilt steering, which should just pop out. But for some reason, here, I gotta put this down to do it. These just pop out. That one's like in. Anyway, there it is. Just like all the other videos, you have to pull the... Is it too much light? You have to pull the steering wheel adjust lever, and it just comes out like that. Mine was a little bit harder for some reason. And pull the key. And with some of these you have these like holes for the screws in some of them. And you have to unbolt these screws, and well, this one I don't believe there's any screws in that. I think it just comes apart, if I'm not mistaken. I'll get it right here. Let's see. Doesn't seem to have anything here. Yeah, that's right. These are not that hard. I mean, these are not as easy as you think. Not as easy to think because they go inside the damn steering wheel. And you got what you have to do. Let me take that off. I forget. It's holding it up in there. Well, let me try that. God damn it. Something to splice out of the video. Bring it back up. Boy, ain't that nice. Video going everywhere. Alright, and so now that's what I had to do is, you know, pull the dash bezel, then just gingerly work it out of here as best as I can. Right there. Can you see? I'm gonna use two hands. Just kind of gingerly, just kind of bend the plastic a little bit. And hopefully, there. Disconnected there. Oh, pain. Not an easy task. That's weird. I wonder how I've had that in there. And I don't understand why that would. Yeah, we should have took that out. You know, maybe I should have took the. Oh well. Anyway, ignition. Oh god, I can't stand that noise. So, what we do to pull the ignition out is, what I should have done was pull the airbag fuse. ignition, crank. Oh, where's the airbag? Crank. It doesn't show in here. It must be under the hood. Let's take a look. Actually, you know what? Double check this. Let's pop the hood. Okay, I gotta check the airbag fuse. Let's see, where is that thing? AC ignition plug spare. Horn. Oh wait, here we are. Air, 30 amp air. And I'm looking at all these damn things right here. Oh, ignition. We have one airbag, ABS. Let's take a look and see if this is what's out. Okay. There it is. So, you can see that we have airbag right here, 30 amp. So it goes 40, 60, 40, 30. 40, 60, 40, 30 in the airbag. Fuse is already out. Cool. The last one is a 30, which is STUD. Don't know what that is. Or wrap 50, 50, 50. Air. Okay, good deal. It's out. So I shouldn't have too much to worry about. Here it is, too. One of them anyway, 60 amp. That's for the ABS. Some people do that because they don't like, you know, how the ABS acts, you know, works when you hit the brakes. You know, in slippery, wet conditions, icy conditions, whatever conditions. So that's like 60 amp. Where are the other two? 40. Should be two other 40 amps. So put them somewhere else, I guess. Anyway, we should be good. It's good there. See there? Wants to go. But now I can't pull a stupid screwdriver out for some reason. This is really ridiculous. I don't understand it. See, it's... Oh, it was out. It was coming out. There. God. Dumb thing. No, this is the old one. So, got the old one. And, this thing right here, you can see how loose that thing is. I mean, that thing is like loose as hell. I mean, and I took it before, and I seen that this was the problem binding up there, so I took it and ground just a little bit off on my grinder, not knowing anything, thinking, you know, I gotta figure out what the hell's going on. Why is it binding? It wasn't these things. These the detent prongs. Those things are, you know, they're there. And a lot of videos out there on YouTube, they're showing that, oh yeah, for sure, you know, it's these things. Let's see if I can get in here. You know, the detent prongs right here, hanging up on the, you know, the ignition. I mean, the cylinder lock itself right here, where it has indentations and shit. And that's not the case. It's this. So That's why your ignition, when you go to turn it, you either have to press down on it, press up on it, press sideways, or, you know, work it back and forth, push in on it to get it to turn. It's not the detent things that fall inside these grooves right here. These things right here, that's not it. The detent pins from the housing of that the ignition lock cylinder. These things right here. Got one there, one on the other side. As you can see, I think you can see that. Mine are smoother. You know, where I took a little bit of sandpaper and cleaned that up, and didn't work. What did work was taking this end right here, the magnet area. It's not even really a magnet, I think, because this is steel. Is that steel? Slightly magnetized. Anyway, it's this thing right here. You can see how loose it is. Binds. It gets loose and it binds, you know. I mean, just imagine this thing when you're going to turn it. Sometimes it, you know, it's hanging out right here. I mean, because there's, you know, there's the spring, you know, pin that holds the whole thing in. This thing is right here. It's sitting down. Gravity's pulling it down into the cylinder. You go in to turn the ignition, it binds up on the cylinder inside. So I'll be replacing it. Put the new one in. Oh, there's the old one. No more. And we'll put the new one in. Maybe I'll clean some of that grease off. I don't think you need to have that much slathered up in there. Take a look. It's a lot. Yeah, there's a little bit in there. Just gonna take my paper towel and clean some of it out. That should be good. And then Greg got it on the seat. Forgot about that. Let's see. Put my glasses on. Yeah. A lot of light out here today. Yeah, that ain't too bad. That ain't overly greased. Yeah, a little bit wiped off here. So now I can put the ignition lock cylinder in. And by the way, I bought this. This is brand new from the dealership. And the part cost about, how much did it cost? Like 71 with, you know, tax, 80, close to $80. And then you got to take your key. Yeah, brother. Sometimes it's just such a pain. You take your key down there, and then for another $20, they will code the key, you know, program it for this. And it requires, you know, comes with these, you know, this thing empty for the tumblers. And they take apart your old one, and then they got new tumblers to go inside, you know, this tin area right here for your key code. And that's all they do. They just take, I mean, this is not even there. It's in a, you know, in the same bag that this comes in, with a bunch of like key tumblers, keyways, and they just pick the right keyway. It all goes by numbers, and they look at your old one, and then they go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 tumblers, and cap it all back in. And here we go. Here's the new ignition assembly. And pretty sure you gotta string. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, you gotta turn it back. Maybe there we are. Okay, there we are now. Go and put the battery cable back on. God, I hate doing this. Yeah, just by screwing this thing on, you know, tighten it, you know, I get worried doing this. It's worrisome because, you know, it's battery acid, and these things have been known to blow up, you know, because of discharge and charging. Here you are screwing a terminal onto it, and every time quarter turn you make, it starts arcing out. Oh, here we are. Ignition lock cylinder. Oops, dropped the key. There we are. There's probably something else wrong with this thing, because this thing is fully in park. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there we are. It's fully in park, and I can see the blinking because this thing's picking up the megahertz of that thing. This thing goes forward when you are in park and you start the vehicle. So now let it warm up and give it a couple of test, you know, tries on and off. Pull the key out, put it back in, pressure on it, seems to work. Let's take and put the key in and put pressure on it that way, the way we did it before when it jammed. Yeah, okay, it came back. Let's try it again. It's good. Hopefully it's fixed. If not, it's going to be this thing too. Be replacing this whole assembly for this ignition lock. And that happens. And almost the same, well, the same thing. You put the key in and it doesn't want to turn, and it locks up. Sometimes it's this also because your system here is worn out. It's not picking up properly. But since it is turning, it's working. Didn't want to start that time though. I'm gonna have to let it run and I think let it learn itself. So anyway, it looks like that's it. Hopefully that is. I haven't had a problem with it. I'll keep messing around with it. But anyway, thought I would do my video on this since I see everybody else's, except maybe a few out there. Some good professionals are talking about the same thing, and they're changing these babies out. And if you notice, there's one of them, he starts out with this, you know, ignition lock cylinder, and then, you know, does it, eventually has to change the whole you know, frame assembly out, which you've got to pull the steering wheel and everything. But a lot of people are thinking it's these things, the detent pins, and it's not. It's almost every case out there, I don't think there's any cases out there that it is the detent pins, but if I'm wrong, let me know. Anyway, until next time, this is a shorter video, so thought I would do it because this is another job I have to get done, and it has to get be done today so the person can use it. Okay, here we are. I had, you can see, get in here, it's not that easy. I had to take the dash out, instrument cluster, to make it easier to put the clamshell casing back on for the ignition assembly, ignition lock cylinder assembly. So anyway, I've done that, and now I'm going to reinstall it. I didn't record the disassembly because I was bound for time and in a hurry. But I'm going to put it back. Here is the instrument cluster, and is that coming out well? Maybe I should bring it up here a little bit further. No, I think that might do it. Just angle that a little bit. There we go. And notice, got to turn the ignition on, put it in drive, or the lever down as far as I can go to get this in, and I don't have the battery disconnected. Ah, there we are. Slide the instrument panel right back up to the right into the dashboard framing. Cheap fiberglass framing that it bolts to, and can't seem to get. Man, I know we got light brighter than hell out today. And put it back in park. Turn the ignition off, turn the ignition back on. Of course, you can't see that. You can hear it. And everything works fine. I didn't have to disconnect the battery to put the instrument panel in. Everything works just fine. The instrument panel works fine. Shows the mileage, shows everything else, and it's all good to go. I just got to bolt it in. So here we go. Got it back in park, and it takes 4 screws to bolt this in, and nut driver I have with I could just have one more hand in this. See, what size is that? That's 9/32. Interesting, but usually I think that's, you go metric, that's a 7mm, but you know, you got one bolt here, screw, should I say, and it just screws in. I like to just get them all started so I don't have to fumble around with everything. Very hard to, you know, maneuver my camera in here, so I'm trying to look at this and, you know, get something, you know, the screw started at the same time. It's not easy to do. So here we are. I got it started. There ain't no way in heck I can get up in there unless... Yeah, there we are. I just can't get my hand in there hardly to show you. There we are. Yes, there. Maybe I can get it in a little bit better there. So we are right there with the other one that I just put in. I just got started there. And I'm going to go to the other side here and put the last two in. If I can do that. Oh. Takes a bit of trying. But I can get it on camera. Try to get as much as I possibly can on camera so people can see what I'm talking about. Here we are. Now we got dash panel to put on. So not that hard to do. Just falls in and push it in, line it up with the holes, start popping it in, and you should be good to go. Sometimes you gotta get out of the vehicle and line them up. Like this one right here. See, now that one, it's going over its insert into the frame. You have to take your finger, just push it in a little bit there. That thing will go right in, and this one should snap in, and they do, and that one right there, and it's all nice again. And you can start the vehicle, and you're good to go. That's that. And if you like the video, subscribe and ring the bell, do whatever you gotta do. And if not, maybe you could go watch men's synchronized swimming.